Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Buildmonger, and we are home. Today, we are doing some modded build tutorials. Now, this series, unlike my last one, is gonna have actual quality and actual love applied to the series. In addition, I want to be more methodical, so this is sort of like a 101 guide to building rather than examples. And I will show you examples, but it is also going to be about inspiring you. So we have 7 block palettes here today, but I am also going to start by showing you how to make your own block palette. So yeah, if you are ready to learn about modded building, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and smack that notification bell. And also, check out my Let's Play on Minecraft Undiscovered to see some of these tips in action. Now, let me show you how to make your own modded block palette. With Chisel, it is now easier than ever to make your own block palette. Because in vanilla, there are many different types of blocks, but very few blend with each other, like stone, cobblestone, andesite, and gravel do. But in Chisel, each block has a lot of different variants to try. So the first block to start out with, if you're a basic builder, you're going to want to start with an agreeable color. Something like stone, or wood, or perhaps even sandstone. Pick 2 or 3 patterns that you think will work for what you're trying to do. In this example, this could be a series of patterns for a Hanging Gardens of Babylon style build. The next thing to consider is if there are any other pattern blocks that have similar but still very different colors. For example, limestone is similar to sandstone, but it is drier. Endstone is also quite similar to sandstone, but it's a lot greener. Planks are much more woody, but can add a lot to your sandstone build. Then you're going to want to add more colors. There are 2 main types of secondary colors. The first one is the contrasting block. The contrasting block is still an agreeable color, but you don't want to use it as much. This can be for floors, this can be for like other colors in walls and stuff like that. But overall, it must be agreeable. This one you tend to have multiple patterns of. The color pop, illustrated here by a lapis lazuli block, is specifically for adding a lot more color to your builds. Typically, you only want 1 pattern of a color pop, but it still adds so much if you have one to make the build look a lot more colorful. The next thing you're going to want to ask yourself is if foliage or leaves will add something to your build. In this case, it almost certainly will, because if it's a Hanging Gardens of Babylon style build, you're going to want foliage. But if you're building this in the desert rather than as a Hanging Garden style, you won't want the foliage. If you're doing this as like an Egyptian pyramid, which this palette would still work for, you don't want very much foliage. So those are the things you would like to consider for if you are building yourself a block palette. Now let's get on to the palettes that I have created for showcase. The first block palette is a very basic sandstone palette that we designed together. This uses sandstone arrayed bricks as the main wall block, accompanied by raw lapis blocks and various sandstone scribble patterns. Over here, we have a floor made of hardened clay wide bricks, with a little ornamental pathway made of hardened clay cut blocks. On the top, we have limestone cut blocks and neon glowstone paneling, as well as grass and leaves planter boxes that can easily be done in vanilla. Don't be afraid to shy away from vanilla techniques, or don't shy away from them if they are necessary. to improve your build. The things you might want to try to improve this palette include using birch planks, endstone, or replacing the lapis blocks with a raw emerald block. If you prefer any of those, or your resource situation allows you to do these instead of using the lapis, for example, feel free and see what you like the best. This one next right here is a lot more traditional for modded than the sandstone one. It's a factory. The key cool thing I decided to try with this is that it uses coal coke blocks, which they are a mod integration block. Sometimes, like, I think it can get disabled by mod pack authors, or it just doesn't work with some coal coke blocks, but it is such a beautiful kind of industrial texture, and it can be used for so many things. I personally love it. So that's one thing. We've got a basalt cobble pattern here. We got a little caution tape here, some factory blocks in a rusted metal plate, as well as a fan, and up here we have some weathered brownstone, as well as some redstone lamps. Lit redstone lamps, but you can of course use regular ones that have been given a redstone signal. A few other things that you might want to try in this include other types of factory blocks, as well as other coke blocks and other types of coal blocks for like asphalt and stuff, as well as other types of brownstone. So that is that. Let's move on to the next one. This next one is one of my personal favorites. It is essentially a steampunk style. We got vertical dark oak planks and large spruce planks, and gears and flywheels factory blocks to give a real steampunk vibe. And for lighting, we have put some neon glowstone in the floor. Now, this right here, these are shipping crate gold blocks, and I've used them to sort of look like pipes that are going from one place to another. Very steampunk-like. You can also use like modded pipes if you want them to be thinner. But I think this adds a lot of texture and character to this room, which makes me want to tell you, even if your builds are on the inside of a block or are they underground, you can still add some texture with stuff like this, with the gold pipes. You can just add a few details here and there to your hallways to make them look so much better. Blocks you can try here are other types of wooden blocks, as well as yellow blocks such as yellow concrete, and overall some interior decoration, because steampunk is all about the mixture of machinery and other basic like comforts. So if we put like a yellow carpet right here, that would definitely be steampunk in a way. Overall, this is a really cool design, I feel. So let's move on to the next one. Now this is a really cool one. I wanted to go for something a little more dreary and evil looking, so I made sort of an evil library. This is a prismatic block of charcoal. They are meant to look like dark prism, or like rather prismarine bricks, but the main feature are these bookshelves. These are acacia bookshelves, which are craftable without quark, and they can be chiseled into various different patterns. These are red tomes, so each one has various arrayed red tomes, and they're all a uniform color, which makes it look a lot more creepy. The floor is ornate redstone blocks, which I think look really neat. A few things to try out: you can replace the charcoal over here with regular coal, and you can try other red blocks if you want. So that is something to look into. This next one is meant to be some sort of futuristic laboratory. Now, the main thing I will say about this is that, well, it is meant to be sort of futuristic and laboratory-esque, but I only use one type of laboratory block because I feel the laboratory blocks are a lot more plainly textured. You guys are free to disagree. I know a lot of people who love the laboratory blocks, so you might want to check those out for yourself. I've used marble big tiles instead of the laboratory ones, as well as sunken stone for the floor, and of course, sea lanterns, because there aren't really very many chiseled light options right now. Down here we have a light gray stained glass window straight in to an ME controller, or rather a fake one, as of course these are Futura blocks, which are meant to look like an ME controller. Stuff to try are obviously the laboratory blocks, but also try to add a little bit of other color if you want, using various glass and stuff like that. It should be white with one color accent, but this one I chose the whole rainbow as my color accent. We are nearing the home stretch with this, and right here we have one of the strangest ones I have come up with. This is essentially meant to be kind of a neon style build. The reason I did it was because it's nearly impossible to do anything neon in modded Minecraft, or rather vanilla. So modded is where this stuff shines. I've used blue Tyrian diagonal plates for the main floor, as well as metal box factory blocks, gold plated circuits for the walls, and I've kind of like staggered them a little bit, so this is sort of like meant to almost be, you know, a little more futuristic, and just like, because if we take this, it would all connect and you wouldn't see nearly as much of this gold accent that I like. Up here we have the gold and purple factory block, which I like a lot, but it's a lot duller, so I put it as the ceiling with some neon bismuth glowstone tiles. Overall, I don't know what you could try here, but I want a better builder than myself to try and improve this build, because I don't know, I was just playing with blocks here, and that's always the foundation of a good build, just playing around with the blocks you have. And we are going to end off with a bang with this little kind of rustic style. Now, this was mostly to show you how useful granite can be in modded, as it is quite a useful or useless block in vanilla, but the chisel patterns for it do not disappoint. I have used the road and pillar patterns, as well as arrayed brick and dented patterns. As for the floor, this is limestone in a slanted pattern, and up here it is the same. We have other vanilla style planter boxes with spruce leaves and a anvil on the bottom. A few things to try could be hardened clay or regular red bricks, as well as sandstone or birch planks. The last idea I had was chiseled nickel blocks, because I have tried it with this pattern and it actually looks quite good. If I can find it real quick, I can actually show you how it looks. Okay, yeah, so this is just a very kind of gilded style block that works really well with this pattern. But that will be it. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and smack that notification bell, and I shall see you later. Peace.